Do you think moving is stressful? Our guest will tell you how it can be joyful on today's Keeping You Organized. Well, today on Keeping You Organized, we have Bonnie Duquette, the Joyful Organizer from thejoyfulorganizer.com. And Bonnie, welcome to the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, listen, I know you have a lot going on over there at the Joyful Organizer, and I know you have this book called The Joyful Organizer's Guide to a Joyful Move. And I want to talk about moving today because, a lot of people, I heard a statistic somewhere that, someone is moving, or the average person moves every 7 years. So, someone probably listening or watching right now is getting ready for a move. So maybe digging into the resource of that book, what do people need to do in order to get ready for a move?
Well, spring is the busiest time of year for people to move. And I always tell people it is never too early to start preparing. So when you are moving, you're either getting a moving van yourself or you're paying professional movers. And either way, you are paying money to move every single item to your new location. So I really want you to stop and think about, is it worth moving those items? So all of those boxes in the attic, in the garage, in the basement that have built up over the years, or you even have no idea what's in them. And I even have some clients who it's boxes from the last Van Lines move. Is it worth it to pay to move those items again? And really getting rid of those things now, donating, selling, purging is going to help you not only during the moving process, but help you settle in on the other end.
Well, what about the people that will say, well, just going through my whole house, especially if I've lived here a long time, that's a little overwhelming. How do you start? What's the first thing you need to do, I guess?
It is overwhelming, and that's why a lot of people actually call professional organizers, because they say, I have no idea where to start. But what I tell people is you're going to start one box at a time. And start with the oldest items. Start with the boxes you don't recognize. Chances are those are clothes that don't fit, decorations you don't use anymore, things that have been destroyed by water or mold, and you're really going to be able to quickly and easily make decisions and get through those.
So do you have do you have like a box that is throwaway and a box that is keep, or do you actually try to box it up into the box you're going to be moving?
Well, it depends on if you're having a van line move, and without getting into all the insurances and things like that, a lot of van lines will require that they do the packing for you. So really at the first step is to focus on getting anything you don't want out. And if it's not very pleasant to work in the garage or the attic or the basement, and a lot of people can't stand up for a long period of time. So I always say bring that box into your living space, put it in front of the couch, watch a TV show, grab a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, and sit and go through the box in front of the television.
Now, that sounds pretty relaxing,
It is, and it may take a little more time to do it that way, but you don't have that anxiety, and you're not sitting in a cold basement or a hot attic, and you're not hunched over. You're really able to think about these things kind of in the light of day, both literally and figuratively.
Now, is there a certain amount of time in advance? Let's say you do work with a professional organizer. If someone were to call you and say, hey, I've lived in this house for 25 years, what kind of time do you like to budget? I know sometimes people have to move quickly because of health reasons, But if you had an ideal amount of time to work, what would you suggest?
I like to start with clients, a month before. You can start before that and, do the purging process. And I've even had clients, once they purge and then we install some closet systems, they say, I wish I wasn't moving because this is the house I really wanted all along. So it's really about how much stuff do you have? How quickly can you make those decisions, and then kind of budget that time into when you're going to do what's called the pack and load to get to your new location. But a month is a general figure and a good amount of time.
Well, let's go into your book a little bit, The Joyful Organizer's Guide to a Joyful Move. What are some of the things that you recommend? Let's just, in addition to what we just talked about, what are some of the key steps involved in moving?
Well, I think one of the first things is to remember is that no matter how organized you are, there's going to be some mishaps, and it's going to be stressful. But really organizing, labeling, double checking everything, and having as many sets of eyes, ears, and hands on site the day of the move is really the best thing you can do for yourself, so that you know where things are going, you know everything is secure on the truck, and then you are able to get settled on the other side. And one of the things I suggest everybody does is create a first night kit for their new home. So have some sleeping bags, have some night lights, some flashlights, a portable DVD player if you're not going to have a TV set up, snacks, toilet paper, a shower curtain, the few necessities, and we have a list in our book of things you want to have on hand just to make that first night a little bit more comfortable, particularly if you have children and it's going to be dark, it might be a little scary, the different creaks and things like that go bump in the night. So you want to make sure you're comfortable on the new side.
Oh, that's a great idea. Now, as a professional organizer, do you kind of work with the client and say, well, let's think about your new home and, the spaces you're going to have there? I mean, if you had the opportunity to go tour the home, that may not always be possible, but are you always kind of thinking about, well, where will this go in the new home?
Absolutely, and that's one of the things is a lot of people in this economy are moving and they're downsizing. Whether or not they have to, it's a choice people are making to reduce utility costs and reduce rental costs or mortgage costs. And it's something that, do you want to pay to store that item in your new home? So whether you pay rent or whether you pay mortgage, you are paying per square foot in your home. And this can relate to anybody moving or not. Is that item worth paying for every single month to keep? So if it's not of value to you sentimentally or monetarily, get rid of it, donate it. And what's junk or surplus to you may mean all the difference in the world to somebody else who you're donating that to.
Right. Now, what about choosing movers? Is that something you get into in the book, talking about, what to look for in a mover? I mean,
we have a series of questions to what to ask the mover. So basic things you want to inquire about are insurance, who will be doing the packing and loading, will you know them? What is going to go on with your possessions during the transportation? Are they going to take multiple days to get there? Will there be other people's possessions on the truck? Who will be unloading? Will it be the same people who loaded your possessions? And again, what is your recourse if anything is lost, broken, or stolen?
Okay. Well, let's talk now. Let's say we've successfully purged our stuff. We've gotten it packed. It's on the truck. And now we're at the new location.
Okay.
What are some of those first day kinds of things that someone should think about as far as, keeping organized instead of just jamming everything in maybe one corner?
So many people, when they get to their new house, they kind of jam everything into closets and everything. They throw things into the kitchen cabinets and they say, well, I'll organize it and I'll fix it later. And later never comes. We're all very busy. You get back on your lifestyle. So I always tell people, set up your organizational systems the right way the first time. So if you're going to install a closet system, if you can financially manage to do that right away, that's the way to do it. Otherwise, you have to take all of these items back out, install a closet system, and then reorganize. You're really doing things twice. So do it the right way the first time. And even if you can't afford fancy or custom systems, there are lots of options available to you at superstores, at home improvement stores, do-it-yourself options that are really, really economical. You can take a vintage kitchen and with about $50 of organizational supplies from Target, really maximize the space you have.
That's a great point. What would be like the top 3 or 4 organizational supplies that maybe someone would want to get if they didn't have, at a Target or whatever? What are some of those things that come in really handy?
Some of my favorite supplies are drawer dividers, and they're just simply spring-loaded plastic things that divide drawers, but they help you divide clothes, socks, particularly with kids' clothes. You can make nice, neat lines instead of having all of those clothes kind of flopped in there. And in kitchens, I love shelf risers, and those are things that allow you they heighten what's in the back of the cabinet and they allow you to see it, because kitchen cabinets aren't very functionally easy to use. They are very deep, and if everything is the same height, you can never see what's back there, whether it's mugs or cans. It's just difficult to see the back.
Wow.
And one of the other things I love is command hooks, and those can affix to any surface. They don't do any damage, and I always say test it out first. But you can use vertical space, so I always look to the back of doors, behind things, up above things, right below the ceiling line. There's a lot of vertical space you can use that you're probably not using to its maximum capacity.
Well, those are excellent tips. We're going to take a quick little break here, and when we come back,
Sure.
I want to talk a little bit more about moving and some of the other things about your business, too, because I'm sure you do more than just helping people organize for moves. So we're talking with Bonnie Duquette from thejoyfulorganizer.com. We'll be right back after this message. Do you need ideas on to-do lists, keeping focus, and filing information while on the go? The 100 Ideas for Better Organization ebook by Smead is sure to be a helpful tool for your organizing needs. Each idea is titled so you can quickly scan the book for whatever topic you may need to reference at the given time. With over 100 years in the organizing business, this free ebook will become a well-used resource and motivator for introducing ideas that boost your productivity. Get the 100 Ideas for Better Organization ebook by going to smead.com/100. Download yours now at smead.com/100. Smead, keeping you organized. We're back now on Keeping You Organized with Bonnie Duquette from thejoyfulorganizer.com. And before we went into the break, we were talking moving, and you've got the book, The Joyful Organizer's Guide to a Joyful Move. Well, first of all, why did you write that book in the first place?
Well, moving is one of the three most stressful things that can occur in any family. And really, while there were a lot of moving guides out there, there wasn't anything where people could record all of their information. So I was working with clients, whether it be close by or across the country, and they said, I have all these phone numbers and I have all these pieces of paper, and they had no place to put it all. And this really was meant to be their guide, their workbook, so they can put everything in this one book, not only get tips on how to proceed, but have all of their information there. So then when they get to the new location, they can take that information and put it in their filing cabinet, they can put it in their records, and they can use it if they ever move again, or they can simply use it as a reference.
Now, give us a quick overview of what's in the book, maybe a quick table of contents kind of look at what's included.
Well, the book talks about ways to purge your home and ways to organize before the move. It talks about what to expect from movers, what to ask of movers, how to work with a professional organizer. It talks about do-it-yourself moving, which a lot of us do. I moved fairly recently and we did it ourselves. It talks about what to look for during the transportation of your possessions, and it talks about how to settle into your new home quickly, effectively, and easily.
Oh, that sounds great. Now, I think there's some teacher in you, and let's talk a little bit about your background and maybe how you got involved as a professional organizer.
Well, I was always organized. I was actually born this way, and my parents will very happily tell the story about those old labelers that you had to spin and squeeze, and I would go around labeling things in the house, stove and refrigerator. And my mom said, we don't have to label them. I said, well, I would feel better if they were labeled. And then on my 11th birthday, I begged my father for a closet system, which when I was 11, they didn't exist. So my very handy father had to build me one. So it was just a matter of time before I started doing this professionally. And I was a special education teacher for a number of years. So you're right, there is teacher in me. And it's really kind of a great way because I get to teach people how to be organized and how to live a better life and really improve their homes and their time and their family time.
Well, you've got a lot going on there at the joyfulorganizer.com, and to tell us about some of the other things you're doing other than just helping people move. I'm sure you have traditional organizing services and some other things.
We do help people in their homes, and we help them in their businesses as well. I personally will speak at conferences or civic groups or companies about organizing and time management. And I do offer one-on-one coaching all around the country for people who want to improve their lives, want to get a little organized, just need a little help, want to improve their time management, really just kind of get a grasp on everything that's going on and just live a more organized, cohesive life.
So you're doing virtual coaching, by Skype or whatever, and
we do Skype, we do email, we do phone, whatever works best for our clients.
Okay, great. Now let's think here. I'm going to put you on the spot. Say this last couple weeks here. Pick a client that you don't have to give their name or anything, and talk about their organizing challenge and how you are helping them or help them overcome it.
Well, one of my most recent clients is we're working on play spaces in the house, and kids have a lot of toys. It's just the way things are now, and it's very difficult to organize those toys because not only are they bulky, they make noise, they are hard to fit into containers, and kids like to play. They like to move things around, and they don't necessarily like to clean up. So one of the things that I work on with all of my clients in play spaces is creating an organizing system and allowing those items to have a place to go. And then if the kids can't read, we create labels with photos, and it's teaching those skills to put things away. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I like a lot of big open bins for kids' spaces, so you can just kind of toss them in. And I like to set timers so kids can have a little bit of fun with the put-away process as well.
Now, do you have kids, and are they organized? Do they clean their room?
I don't have kids. We run 3 companies.
Okay.
So those are our babies right now. But I have a fur baby, and all of her things are organized, and we've actually trained our dog to be able to put things away into a bin.
No, that's pretty good. I have to admit.
Yes.
That's good. Well, let's talk about, you also do a internet radio show, and tell us a little bit about that.
We do. We have a radio show, The Joy of Organizing, and we're currently on hiatus, but it is updated periodically. And you can get all of those episodes for free on iTunes. Just search for The Joy of Organizing.
Okay, great. So now, just to reiterate, you also do, in addition to home organizing, you do businesses, right? What are some of the things that you can help you do, like a small business owner, more than just filing and paper organizing, or is there coaching involved? What kind of, give me the fit of that?
For example, one of the companies we just worked with, they did a major downsizing, and that's happening in a lot of companies right now. So not only is it coming up with the retention guidelines for what needs to be kept physically in paper and what needs to be kept digitally, but it's coming up with a workflow that everybody can do. For example, if I'm out sick, somebody needs to sit at my desk and come up with my workflow, but it's managing our time and it's managing our meeting time. So it's most effective. So it's all of those things put together, and sometimes I'll work with a big group, sometimes I will work with a smaller group, and sometimes we'll do breakout sessions. So for example, at a big company such as Pepsi, we'll start with a large group, and then we'll break down into smaller interest groups as time goes on.
Okay. All right. Let's talk personal organizing. You said you were born an organizer, and I guess there's some people believe you're born, and some people believe you can learn, and we're not going to solve that debate here. But paper planner or digital planner?
I use a paper planner. I do also use a digital calendar so that I can keep all of the companies, and anybody who works with me can see the calendar. But I use a paper planner so that I can have things right in front of me, and I also keep my to-do list in there.
Okay, and so let's talk about a couple of the things that you do to stay organized personally. How do you plan your day, your week? What are some routines or some things that you implement personally?
One of the things I really like to do is just to look ahead to the next few days. I don't like to be taken by surprise, and I always like to schedule some wiggle room in there. If I schedule things back to back to back, nothing is going to run on time, and you never know when something is going to pop up, and it always does. Someone will be sick, or there will be an emergency email or an emergency with a client, so you need to leave that wiggle room, and people often forget that. And one of the other things I do is I always leave 5 to 10 minutes at the end of a project. So if I'm sitting down and writing for a few hours, I leave a good 10 minutes so that then I can put away my notepads, I can put away my filing, and then I can prepare for the next project. So really, it's factoring in that organizing time 5 to 10 minutes. And people will say, well, I don't have time. And I say, well, I challenge you 10 minutes right before you go home at the end of the day to neaten up your desk, put away your files, and write your to-do list for the morning. And then when you come into work and you're kind of groggy and you kind of don't know where to start, you've already prioritized for yourself and you're refreshed at the end of the last day. And it's really going to save you all the time in the world.
Oh, those are awesome tips. Well, we're just about out of time here. I want to let people be able to get a hold of you. So what's the best way for people to connect with you?
Well, they can always email me at Bonnie, BONNIE, at thejoyfulorganizer.com. And you can always visit our website, which is www.thejoyfulorganizer.com. And we have a blog on there that we actually update daily with different organizing tips, products, different interesting pieces of research we find. So you can subscribe to that for free, and it's kind of a way to work with us every single day.
Well, great. Well, this has been a great education on not only moving, but a bunch of other things as well. And it's nice to know that you are a joyful organizer as well.
Thank you.
So thank you for being with us today. And it's Bonnie Duquette from thejoyfulorganizer.com today on Keeping You Organized.